A steering wheel, a scream, and one man who said nothing, while the real story unfolded in silence. What you saw on TV was barely 10% of what happened on Capitol Hill. Behind the theatrics, distractions, and viral moments, a game of strategy, law, and power was being played. And it wasn't for the cameras. Are you ready to see the truth that they tried to hide? This wasn't an accident. This was a plan. JimJordan is not new to controversy. He's been in Congress since 2007, representing Ohio's 4th District, a member of the Republican Party, and a founding force behind the House Freedom Caucus. Before politics, he was a wrestler, a really accomplished one, winning 2 NCAA Division I national championships, and compiling an unbelievable 156-1 high school record. But no amount of athletic discipline can cover up the desperation we see in the hearing room. This isn't about his record or his loyalty to Trump. This is about a man trying to protect someone accused of undermining American democracy. That's what we're dealing with here. The stakes are enormous. Jack Smith, on the other hand, brings calm professionalism. Born in 1969 in Clay, New York, he's a career attorney, Harvard Law graduate, summa cum laude in political science, and a man who has spent decades prosecuting high-profile cases: police brutality, murder, domestic violence, sex crimes. When AG Merrick Garland appointed him as special counsel in 2022, he was tasked with something historic: investigating 2 massive Trump-related criminal matters, including trying to overturn the 2020 election, pressuring Vice President Mike Pence, orchestrating fake electors, and encouraging the violent January 6 Capitol attack, illegal retention of classified documents, storing national secrets at Mar-a-Lago, and attempting to obstruct justice to hide them. The hearing itself? 5 hours of chaos disguised as inquiry. Jordan opens with a declaration: this was always about politics. And then it begins. Yelling, interruptions, theatrics, a focus on minor anecdotes. Most famously, Cassidy Hutchinson's story about Trump lunging for a steering wheel in an SUV during the January 6 chaos. Jordan acts as if disproving that one story will unravel the entire investigation. But Smith calmly explains the story was secondhand, possibly hearsay, and might not even be admissible in court. Yet the real indictment didn't rely on this moment. It relied on massive evidence, the fraudulent electors, the pressure campaign on Vice President Mike Pence, and Trump's exploitation of January 6 violence. Everything Jordan yells about is irrelevant to the legal facts. The steering wheel was a distraction, a red herring, and everyone watching could see it. Jordan presses on. He mentions Tony Ornato, White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, and Secret Service agent Bobby Engel, both of whom claimed Hutchinson's story didn't happen. Jordan tries to frame this as proof that the investigation is faulty. But here's the problem. Ornato and Engel have a history of loyalty to Trump that sometimes contradicts official records. Their credibility isn't ironclad. Meanwhile, Smith's team conducted independent investigations, interviewed multiple first-hand witnesses, and still found overwhelming evidence of criminal activity. Jordan is pointing fingers at shadows while ignoring the real mountain of proof. Now let's dig into the key revelations and arguments that Jordan tried to exploit. First, the secret phone subpoenas. Jordan grilled Smith over the decision to subpoena phone records of Republican lawmakers who were in contact with Trump around January 6, 2021. Smith explained calmly that these subpoenas were standard practice in complex criminal investigations. They help prosecutors understand the scope of a conspiracy. No laws were broken. The phone records didn't show content, only dates, times, and participants, a procedural step, not spying. But Jordan tried to turn it into a scandal. Viewers watching could see through it. Next, the confidential source payment. Jordan highlighted a $20,000 payment made by the FBI during the investigation. The aim was to make Smith look reckless or biased. Smith clarified that the payment was for reviewing video and photographic evidence, a normal part of investigations. He noted that the payment amount and recipient were scrutinized, but it did not impact the legitimacy of the case. Again, this was another attempt to create a distraction. Then there was the final report block. During the December 2025 proceedings, it came out that Judge Aileen Cannon's ruling had kept a significant portion of Smith's final report under seal. This meant the committee didn't have full access to all classified documents. Jordan tried to use this to imply secrecy or bias, but the reality was simple. Legal procedure required certain materials to remain confidential to protect sources, national security, and ongoing investigative methods. Witness credibility became another major target. Jordan attacked Smith for relying on Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, pointing out that it was second-hand and disputed. Smith explained he had not finalized which witnesses would testify at trial. Hutchinson's testimony was part of a broader body of evidence. The public could see Jordan fixating on small details, while the real crimes, obstruction, fraudulent electors, and election interference were enormous and well documented. Social media exploded during and after the hearing. Clips of Jordan screaming, red-faced, went viral immediately. Viewers were shocked, amused, and horrified at the theatrics. Meanwhile, Smith's calm demeanor became a counterpoint. No yelling, no drama, just facts. Analysts and commentators noted the stark contrast. One man performing for the cameras, the other methodically defending years of investigation. The difference was clear, and viewers responded. This wasn't just a congressional hearing, it was a case study in accountability versus political theatre. But let's look at the larger stakes. Jack Smith's investigations led to 2 federal indictments against Trump, the conviction of nearly 1,300 January 6 rioters, and a detailed understanding of the efforts to subvert the 2020 election. Yet Republican lawmakers, led by Jordan, tried to shift attention away from these facts and toward procedural complaints, subpoenas of phone records, witness credibility, payments to confidential sources, and sealed reports. These are standard legal practices in complex criminal investigations, but they became talking points for Republicans hoping to undermine Smith. The effort was transparent: attack the prosecutor, ignore the crime, and the public saw it. Then comes the aftermath and future implications. After Trump's re-election in 2024, Smith requested the dismissal of the cases against him. Not because the evidence was weak, but because DOJ policy prohibits prosecuting a sitting president. That distinction is critical. Evidence remained intact. And now, following Smith's resignation, Jordan and other House Republicans have launched oversight inquiries to scrutinize whether Smith's team violated protocols. These efforts are ongoing, adding another layer to an already tense political narrative. The story of the steering wheel became a viral sensation, but it's symbolic of a larger trend. Distractions, theatrics, and social media clips are tools used to shift attention away from inconvenient truths. Jordan's performance highlights the risks of focusing on spectacle over substance. But Smith's methodical presentation of evidence reminds viewers that accountability doesn't need theatrics. The contrast itself became a teaching moment, illustrating how political agendas and facts often collide in the public sphere. In the end, this is more than a political battle. It's about principles, truth, evidence, and the rule of law. It's about seeing through distractions and focusing on what matters. JimJordan can scream, he can point fingers, he can stage theatrics for cameras, but facts endure. Evidence prevails. And the work Jack Smith did over years, methodically and with unwavering integrity, shows the real story behind the scenes. Accountability, procedure, and the law matter more than any viral moment or soundbite. And this moment wasn't just to inform you, it was to distract you. The real test isn't what happened that day. The real test is whether we fall for the same trick again or not. People don't scream when they're winning, they scream when they're afraid. Fear doesn't always look like panic. Sometimes it turns into anger, sometimes into chaos and noise. And sometimes silence is the loudest voice of all. Because democracy doesn't die in a single day. It fades slowly, and when people get tangled in lies and fail to see the truth hidden behind the noise,